Okie dokie.
Whenever you're ready.
So last session, we began by asking the question of, should we drink a water-breathing potion before going down this secret passageway? And we came to the conclusion that, nah, there's probably not going to be a lot of water. And so we continued onwards. We explored a little nook in the left side. We found some treasure with some magical items in it. Red spent a half an hour identifying one of the items. It was a pearl, I believe, right? Or was it the ring?
You identified the pearl, I believe. Should be here. Grab this one. Not that, not that.
10 minutes, sorry, and it was the abyssal gem of twisted fates. But we don't have the time to attune to that, so we continued onward because we didn't want to lose our dark vision, and we'd wanted to beat the dungeon before the inevitable second long rest that would make everyone go crazy through madness. So we found some little holes that were blocked up, preventing water from passing through them. We went to the furthest one and unblocked it, and we debated sending a small Ecclesis through, then shoving him through, and then letting him spy. And then we ultimately decided that should just bust through the wall, Kool-Aid Man style, and then get the jump on any enemies behind it. This was a terrible mistake, as we took all the precautions we thought we could take, casting silence over the wall. We busted it open with a crowbar or something. I don't remember the exact tool, but we busted through the wall. It triggered an alarm that we did not hear, and everyone looked at us and got real mad. There were a few guards, some temple dudes, and a foxy-looking fella with backwards hands, and the Medusa herself. The foxy-looking backwards hand man, who I believe their name is Fang,
Mm-hmm.
he instructed the Medusa to kill us. Um, we got shot at a bunch of times. Fang lit Lycan up like a Christmas tree, blew him up essentially. There was a fireball. We were stuck in this little tunnel. We slowly edged our way forward. Red was able to get through magic and spells, and was headed straight for Fang Man. He got into a little tussle with Fang, while Lycan, Ecclesis, and Kalor took turns taking damage and getting healed. Lycan got saved by Kalor, then Lycan saved Kalor, and then Ecclesis went out there to try and turn invisible and sneak through, but then he found out that Fang could see invisible things, and Fang called him out. Then Ecclesis got attacked, I believe, to be knocked unconscious on the floor, or was he just
Fang,
slept or something? I forgot.
Fang mentioned to him that he'd be willing to have a conversation of somewhat, and then Iglesias did not reply pleasantly, and then he used a delirium blast, which is kind of more like a psychic fireball.
And that knocked Ecclesis right on his ass. Lycan went in to save the day. He cast a sanctuary spell on himself that carried his ass for the rest of the combat. Still will. And Lycan began making his way in to try and help Red any way he can. Very limited in his abilities and due to the distance of how far away everything is, but he's on his way. And Ecclesis has regained from consciousness. Kalor's shooting anyone he can when he gets to come around the corner. And then Red made the brave decision of, when almost dying, he decided to grapple Fang and throw him off the edge into the water. Fang first, taking the blow, and then he's trying to currently drown him. Red is also invisible, and he's doing a lot of other magical stuff. And Red is trying his best to make sure this motherfucker dies. And Lycan is slowly swimming towards them. Ecclesis is uh, recovering, I think. He's going to do something, I think. Is Ecclesia still invisible?
He would have, to my knowledge, he would have lost his visibility when he went unconscious. I don't believe he has re-upped it yet.
Ah,
No,
yes.
I don't think it's been my turn again yet.
Okay. And
Oh wait, it was, but then I used hypnotic pattern to stun one of them.
that's the one that Kalor killed. First kill of the combat.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Switch it
And I
back to
believe that's where we're going. That's where we're up to. Red's drowning a fox.
and switching over to combat music now.
Red, give yourself inspiration.
All right. And with that, top of the turn order is Medusa. Let's see. She will move 35 over to here, and then she's going to move technically 5 down, as she's going to coil around the column with the tail and kind of keep her bow looking around the water, and then action held.
Can she see me under the stairs?
Well, you were submerged under the water. Were you just? I don't think you actually had time to submerge. You were just kind of swimming across.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm just swimming across,
Okay,
but I'm
so
under this bridge thing.
Yeah,
so she can probably see me.
Right, so she will then actually make her. So the column's here. Yeah, and if she wraps around it, she would see. Okay, she's not gonna use. She won't hold her action then. It was only red that was submerged down at 40 feet. That's what I got mixed up. So it is longbow attacks coming at you.
Wisdom save.
Yep. Let's see. 10 fails. No ability to redirect. Second attack. 25 passes.
Alright, make your attack, and I'll spend my final lucky point.
25 to hit as well. Lucky for reroll.
Yep, final lucky.
And plus her modifier.
Do I roll that, or does she roll
you
that?
You roll it, and then we add her
20
modifier.
Plus.
So that turns to 19 to hit, which will not connect.
Fuck you.
And then third attack.
It's lucky in quotes. Third attack.
Yep. Wisdom fails at 10. End your turn.
Wipe sweat from brow.
Arcane Knight. He's gonna step forwards towards the ledge. And let's see, what is this distance from you? You cannot see red down below. 60 plus 60 is 120. Actually, no, because that's 40 from the base platform. So that is actually 160. So it's gonna have to do something pretty far in range. Instead, that is a waste of a fireball. He's not going to. He's going to keep elemental bolt in the air in your general direction, Lycan. But he's not going to fire. Let's see, this one. Incapacitated. This one's incapacitated because of hypnotic pattern, so he's not going to act.
Alright.
You're good. And then I will say this round, the other one notices that he's not going to be acting or doing anything. Fang's gonna go. Grappled underwater 40 feet. What does he do here? he will. Does he break his vocal this early? No, he's not gonna break his vocal this early. He's gonna go for a claw attack. Now, weapon attacks in water are at disadvantage. She would have, yeah. So yeah, he does know who's holding on to him because he does have true sight. Yeah, as noted from last session. But even though he can see you, it's still disadvantage because it's a melee attack in water. No worries. So that is 2 attacks as his action with his claw, the abyss. A 18 at disadvantage. Yeah, I was gonna say, because I think you have Blade Song up, it's just not turned on the sheet. Just showing 17 on your token. But then a 23 at disadvantage, avoiding a critical. Shield, okay. Yes, shield would break your vocal, correct. Because it's a counterspell that's a non-vocal. If you break your vocal underwater and you don't have the potion drunk yet, you will begin suffocating based on your COD mods. Can I spell vocal? That's right. That was one of the ones that was systematic. Weird. Okay. No, Player's Handbook, somatic for counterspell. Oh, good. But yeah, shield will. Shield will break. Counterspell wouldn't. That's noted, if you take a potion of water breathing while you're suffocating, it just resets the suffocating and you're able to breathe for as long as the potion lasts. And suffocating is your con mod number of rounds before you instantly reach 0. Okay, so popping the shield, beginning suffocating, lasting for 3 rounds, and then presumably taking the potion otherwise. Okay? So, with that, but I've used the radioactive symbol for 3 rounds. He will look and see that you have shielded his attack. He kind of has a grin on his fox-like face through the kind of water. He's going to then bonus action to Misty Step 30 feet. Still in the water at 10 feet below the surface.
Does the shield drop the grapple?
Shield will not drop grapple. Shield just stops the claw attack. But he doesn't have a reaction left to counterspell the Misty Step. And the Misty Step will teleport him 10 feet away from the top of the water, which will be he's out of the grapple. Yes, as noted. The only difference from his is that his seems to come from the staff that he's holding versus everyone else seems to come from the hand, as if they were marked by an item. But he's the one who probably seems to be in control of the others being able to use or not use the band schools. And maybe related to the staff. Let's see. And then that was action, bonus action. he will use his fly speed, even though it's not as fast as his movement speed. So 10 would be 20 feet, and then 10, so he's going to be 10 feet in the air as he ends his turn. Mark that is there. And no longer holding breath for that. Alright. I will end turn. E.
All right. Do I see him above the water?
Yes, as noted, he is now 10 feet above the water. He is visible. There's a column in front of you here, and a column here that might technically part some vision, maybe give half cover, but if you reposition, or if you cast something that's not a line of sight attack, then you'd be just fine.
Okay. I'm going to cast. He's still more than 60 feet away from me, though, right?
So you're roughly 10 feet in the air from where you're at, so it's straight across. At straight across, you're at 95.
Okay. I'm going to 95, eh? Are there... Sorry, one second. I'm going to check the map again.
Oh, good.
I'm using my phone, so it's like really small.
No worries. Take your time.
Uh, oh, damn, I just changed the thing. Are there any guys around that I know have access to counterspell?
The Arcane Knights you're aware of. You're not certain if the Arcane Guard does, and you believe the Medusa hasn't. She hasn't shown any sign of spell casting.
Okay.
But as noted,
is
they're
there a way?
100 feet up from the water surface.
Okay. I'm gonna go for a little bit of another Hail Mary, I guess.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt a. Oh my god, my thing's fucked. A thing called hypnotic pattern on the fox guy.
Okay, so dropping the current one for the guy above and redirecting it onto him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I? Would it be possible to get within 60 feet of him, without being within 60 feet of the other two guys, who
Yes.
I know might have access to counterspell?
Yes, as noted, they're 100 feet on top of the platform, so that gets factored in for from Manhattan rules. So
Are
if you're
there
60
reactions
feet,
currently spent? The wizard guys?
that one is not spent actually, because he didn't get a hold because he was incapacitated. The other one does have a reaction held, but not spent, and that was what when an enemy comes within range, he's gonna elemental bolt them. So technically speaking, there have not been. And then you do note that the guard is the closest in range, but you haven't seen him cast a 3rd level spell yet, so you're not sure if he can or cannot. But he is
This guy
only
might be able to counterspell it.
70. Yes, the Fang might be able to counterspell if you get within 60 feet of Fang. He might be able to respond with a counterspell. But for the guard, he would be 70 against whatever the ground is, so he's not within 60 by default. So you're safe from any of the above creatures being able to counterspell, but if you do go within 60 as like a noted Fang might be able to use his reaction.
Didn't Fang use his...
He just had his turn.
He didn't use his reaction yet. Shit. Okay, then I'll stay far back, and I will... I'll just hypnotic pattern from there.
Okay. Heard. That's the only one within range, so he'll make his roll. And it's gonna say pop up pattern. Okay. As hypnotic pattern goes to wash over him, he does not flinch, as it does seem like it affects him. His eyes, don't seem to respond, as it doesn't seem to be charmed.
He cannot be charmed?
He cannot be charmed. Immunity.
Oh, shit. Okay. He sends
Probably
Udil.
because he's a demon. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah. Okay.
We are able to distinguish. He didn't pass the roll. It wasn't a it was simply that he didn't seem phased at all. So you do know it's immunity.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to, I guess now. Charmed, eh? He cannot be charmed. What is this? Nope, not that. Stop that. Cancel. Isn't a charm too? Is hold person charm?
I don't believe so, but I will double check for you. Just to be on the safe side. Also, let's see. It is of the enchantment, but it is a paralyzed condition. It does have to be a target humanoid, however.
He's not a humanoid?
And he may not be a humanoid. Given you did know that he is able to be immune to charmed conditions, as like suggests he may be of a fiend of sorts, and fiends are not necessarily always classified under humanoid, even if they take a medium-sized shape.
Okay.
So that would be a
Then
risk.
I guess I'm going to, yeah. I'll just stay where I am, I suppose.
Okay. Yep.
And I'll have to pass. I don't have a good bonus action.
Okay, heard. So with that, then, Lycan.
So Red's still pretty deep under the water.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, he is past current line of sight. He's 40 feet below. It's about 30 feet visibility cut off. So he is in darkness from your kind of point of view. Still technically invisible as well on top of that. But you do notice that Fang seemed to come up in a hurry, not really confidently per se. So you don't get the feeling that he is taking out Red and just kind of like rising up like, oh, I defeated him. More like getting away from that thing. More or less. It seemed to be Fang's reaction.
It's still difficult terrain to swim through the water.
Yes, without a swim speed, it's difficult terrain.
Fuck. This guy's... fucking this guy.
100 feet up before Manhattan rules, as noted. And this one's 7.
This guy is gonna attack me if I get within... How far?
Within 120. His elemental bolt seems to have the same range as Eldritch Blast or Firebolt, so he'd have to be 20 feet on from the left side of you. Yeah, so right there. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, correct. The guys above are way too far away for counterspell. Even the guy who's on the platform here, the Arcane Guard, is 70 away just from the water's edge.
Okay, that changes everything. I'm going to bonus action, spend another key point.
Sure.
Step of the wind.
Right.
So swimming at normal speed. 5,
In theory, yeah.
10,
Yeah.
15, 20, 25. Boop. What's the range on Dispel Magic? 120 feet. Okay, so I'm going to cast Dispel Magic, which drops the Sanctuary, on the staff. Is that how it works? Or do I have to cast it on him?
Dispel Magic can target an object. Yes. Let me double check something here. Now, if you cast it on him, for reference, everything that is not innate on him, that is a magical effect, would have to roll against the dispel magic, and if it's considered 3rd level or lower, it's automatically dispelled. But if you do choose an object, it's only for the object itself. Let's see.
Can I make an Arcana check to see just how important the staff is to his entire arsenal?
Let me double check. Pull this up. For reference,
perception, maybe.
it does. You have been able to visibly see thus far that the staff seems to be maybe connected to this location and the banished rule, or the banned rule, and it seems to allow him and anyone he designates to ignore whatever the banned rule is what you at least get something of what the staff's doing, and being able to potentially dispel that effect could force him and the other ones to be banned as well and have to roll just like the party members are rolling. It might not necessarily remove the banned effect on everyone, but it might also reapply it back to them. But you could do an Arcana check. The only thing is that an Arcana check is a skill action, and that takes an action. Or skill check takes the action.
Okay,
So,
not doing that then.
Yeah, you'd only be able to go off of what I just noted that you'd be able to at least infer from what you've been able to see thus far, though.
Okay, so it's either if I landed the dispel on him, all of the magical stuff he's attuned to would stop. Is that how it works?
If you dispel magic on him, any magic that's placed upon him, let's say he has a haste on him, a shield of faith on him, or something like that. Anything like that, if it's 3rd level or lower, it would be automatically dispelled. Anything else that's upon him that's higher than that would be considered a roll against. But items or objects in particular that they're wielding
It's
is
just,
not.
It's
Yeah,
just a flat roll.
correct. So it would be either targeting the item or targeting himself. His fly did not seem to be as fast as your fly. Maybe indicating that it is not a spell. Or a weaker spell, or variant of something else. Could be. But it's not the standard fly at the very least, as he did not seem to move as fast as you were able to.
Okay, I'm gonna cast it on the staff then.
Okay.
No more staff. Lycan does the scrunchy hand movement at the staff.
Okay.
Do I have to roll something?
Yeah, I'm just double checking your rules thing for that in particular. Because technically the magical item is not doing a leveled spell, but it is a magical effect. So I'm just trying to determine what would be considered the level for said effect.
I cast this through my
varies a
Drow
little.
High Magic, so if whatever the rule is, I would do the strongest version of casting this, however strong I can go.
It would be base 3 for reference for innate magic. It allows you just to cast it
Yeah.
at that level. It doesn't allow you to higher level cast. If you were to higher level cast, it would be burning a higher level spell slot. Okay. Let's see. Grab this here.
Is Red within my Twilight here, or is he too deep?
No, he'd be too deep because he is 40 feet below to begin with.
Okay, well I'll let you figure out the dispel thing first, and then I'll continue my movement.
Okay. Okay, that makes dispel magic a lot worse. So technically speaking,
Uh-oh.
5e does not allow for suppression of magic items. So only if the magical item was inhabiting an effect, like if I cast magical weapon on the staff and there's an actual spell on the staff, is what dispel magic works against for spells. So
it does nothing.
it would
Can
not
I
do
get my
anything.
action back?
So if you wanted to redirect it to him and try to see if he has any spells on him, you could still use the dispel magic. But if you also wanted to simply save it and not try to place on him and try to do something else, I'll allow you to do so. That's why I just wanted to double check, because I'm like, but yeah, because it is a magical item, but it didn't have a level, so I just double checked. It does not allow for suppression of items in 5e. Only AA can do that.
That's
at 8th level.
disappointing. Well, let me have a look. And it's a roll to cast any of the banned spells.
Yes, that is correct.
What's the roll? Just D20 flat?
And it's a D100.
Ah, that's right. Well, I may as well because I don't have a lot of other things I can do to him. Hang on. I'm gonna keep reading just in case I do have something else.
Oh, good. As noted, higher level casting seems to have more chance to be effective than lower level casting. What you've seen so far with the
I've only got
spells.
lower level anyways.
True.
So any spell I cast will be around the same.
Gotcha.
Okay. I don't know what creature he is. Oh, it's just demon, fiend.
Fiend, demon, yeah. At least, the very least, is what you get the look of him at the as noted.
Okay, never mind. That won't work. Alright, I'll just try and dispel magic him and hope that it removes him from the staff or removes his control of the Medusa or whatever. I'm gonna dispel magic him. What's the roll?
So there is a magical effect that is upon him. Technically, out of a spell, there is only one spell that is on him, so I will need you to roll because it is higher than a 3rd level.
What's the roll? Just a flat D20?
1d20 plus your spellcasting modifier, so 1d20 plus whiz. Or you can do technically a wisdom check on your sheet, basically, because it won't add your proficiency.
1d20 plus 5.
Yep, that also works.
Oh,
11 will not counterspell it. But you do now know at the very least there is something magical that he does have on him that's higher than 3rd level. Whether that's aiding him in combative purposes or something else, you're not entirely certain. But you do know that he has something there.
Fuck. That's my fucking turn. Okay, if I dive underwater, does that give me cover from the snipers?
So what it will do is past 30 feet, you will be in darkness, so you won't be seen to be targeted. Or
The
you'll have issues
twilight
seeing.
gives me mild darkness, so if that's underwater, does that help me at all?
True. I will say if you're only 15, you go from that dim light to full darkness. So you get darkness faster to avoid cover. If you have the remaining movement to swim that down, you could get into full cover.
Where was I? I was here, I think.
Mhm.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I've got 25 more move feet. I'm gonna swim. I don't know that Red's here because he's invisible, right? Like I know he's probably in the water.
Correct. You know he's in the water, but technically speaking, he's still invisible and he's in darkness.
I can see in the dark though. But I guess it's rules about underwater darkness.
No, it would be considered total. It's total darkness, but it's not magical, so you'd still be able to see. Because you have 300. That's right. So yeah, you'd still be able to see him at that distance if he was visible, but he's invisible. You know he splashed around that area, but whether he's full 40, whether he's 30, 35, the exact square, unable to tell.
Alright, so I'll dive like the 15 feet needed to get into darkness to cover.
Okay, sure.
And then how many rounds do I have under my con?
If you hold your breath, which you're going to be able to do because you initialize on your turn, it's your con plus 1 of minutes. So 10 plus your con mod number of times 10 rounds. You're just fine. As long as you don't do a vocal spell or for some reason drink a potion underwater, you won't begin suffocating. You'll be just fine holding your breath.
All right, I'm gonna do that, and I'll swim the remaining, 10 feet closer to Red. So I'm sure he's in the Twilight. He would get the Twilight bonus wherever he is.
Yeah, because it's 15 and then 25 down plus 20 from you is 45. It's a 30-foot radius.
Yeah. Is he still too? Is he still too far?
I think he is. Let me double check. So across is 20, down is 25 from you because he's at 40 and you're at 15. So that'd be 45 feet. That would be out of. I would be out of 30 feet by 15 feet.
If I move back here and I swim down the full 25, does that put him in?
That would put him at 15 from you, and 30 feet across. You still be at 45. However either way you slice it, it'd be 30 plus 15, or it'd be 25 plus 20.
Oh, I'll just do what I did before. I'll go down 15, move over the remaining 10, and then hope that he swims closer to me on the end of his turn.
It would still make it easier for him to get up and get into that radius, to be able to do it. Okay.
All right, that's me.
And then 1d6 for yourself, for your temp.
Yes, 1d6 plus, what was it, 4?
Yes. Should
Hey.
Jesus.
My turn.
Yep.
It's the same.
Yippee! Okay,
Well, the only one doing damage. Well, I guess Red's doing damage.
yeah, okay. Gonna revitalize myself, so 2d6, that's doubled.
Yep.
Okay,
And as a
so-
reminder, because you pass that effect, it is doubled. As a
Yeah.
reminder, if you pass a banned school effect, you also do get a bonus or boon to your spell.
Not plus 112, plus 12.
12 would be nice, but sadly only 12.
Okay, and they're gonna shoot at me, but hopefully.
No held
I'll
actions against you
go-
at that distance, so you're fine for now.
Oh shit, okay. Where the hell is everyone?
Yeah, 2 in Submerged Darkness to the north. E is pretty close to you, around the corner.
Yeah, I think I saw a bit of him when I was walking past in a jolly way. That's not, what do you call it? Level to me, right? That's,
Correct. So you're at 40 feet above. This is equal to the 40 feet platform, plus 30 feet is from there. So it's 25, which means that is 70, 90 feet from you.
90 feet, and yeah, that is just enough of my. Oh, actually, no, hang on. I think it's 120, but whatever. Yeah, I'll do my standard attacks on Medusa.
Revolver at disadvantage.
Yep.
Misses the crit, but still 27 hits. Damage is damage.
Couldn't be
Fair
me.
damage is damage.
Yep. Hang on, let me just quickly check my. Okay. I will not Archangel that. I will just do another. Ooh,
18 still hits.
nice. Okay, and then. It can only go back to here. Okay. And I'll end my turn there.
Okay. Arcane Guard's gonna go. It just sees this dim light and then darkness below. Let's see. Double check something for range. 90. So it's a 70-foot platform. One, two, three, four. So he's 10 feet. That's 10 feet, and then 10 feet above is 60. Arcane Guard repositions, leans down over towards Fang, and goes to Vortex Warp him.
Jesus Christ.
And he is a willing creature. And within range of 60 feet. It is before your turn, so you have not regained your reaction back from the shield. Otherwise, you in theory would have been able to. So with that, 90 feet, he is going to reposition him onto the throne for now. Should put him 70 feet above water, plus the distance there. Arcane Knight will end its turn. Arcane Guard, sorry, will end its turn there. Red reaction is back. Shield is down. 40 feet below.
You guys hear me, or is it too loud?
It's a little muffled, but I can make out what you're saying.
Okay, so this is kind of crap because I thought I was cool, but guess not. So I'm gonna try to regain some points. I'm still invincible, so I'm gonna down a entire chalice. Myself 50 hit points back up. I'll keep my concentration.
Yep.
And kind of stuffed, right? Like we don't have any position now to get in the middle above us.
Repeat that for me.
I have
Repeat that for me.
levitate, but can I cast levitate on other people? I can, right?
I believe as long as you touch them with levitate, but it is only 20 feet of movement. If I remember.
Yeah, it's not really worth.
Let's see.
We're kind of fish in a barrel here as well.
Yes, it is. It is yourself or a creature
Let's
within
go
60
screw
feet,
now.
up to 20 feet.
I mean, we're playing a level fight field because they can use spells. We can't. I'm totally useless because I don't have the spells I can do. Yeah, I was gonna try to net him or something, but Vortex one just totally took back the equation. So we can't even retreat. We can't even get back up there, can we? Like that was a drop. Right?
Sorry, I still come in a little bit muffled. You couldn't retreat for.
Oh. You can't go back because it's a drop right there, right?
So the water has begun to cease, yes, but you can in theory still fly back up the. It's not collapsed here. It's just the water is not flowing anymore. So in theory, you could still use your fly speed to fly around to get back up to retreat if you wanted to.
Or I could fly up and try to get him.
Correct. You could begin to fly up. So it'd be with the fly speed, it's still functions underwater, but would be difficult. So 80 would get you 40, and then you'd be back on the top of the water, but still invisible. And then you could get, if you dashed, it would get you all the way up to the platform. Yeah, but then you'd be visible still to the to Fang at the very least, but you'd be back on the platform if you were to effectively move dash with your fly. You can get back to the platform, but again be visible to Fang.
I can't fly and stay invisible.
Oh, cause you don't have fly spell on you right now. As I say, if you have fly spell and invisibility on you, you'd still be able to do.
No, because I'm concentrating on visibility.
So if you were to pop, oh yeah, didn't Kalor have fly on you, or I thought Kalor was the one maintaining?
No, I have whatchamacallit, Aura of Vitality on myself.
Ah, okay. So yeah, so if you were to pop fly on yourself, you would become fully visible, and then if you were to fly up, you would, in theory, with fly, be able to get up to the top. But on the downside of it, every creature would see you because you're not visible, versus just Fang.
Alright, well I've already used my action. I will start swimming towards Lycan at half speed, so that's 25 feet. So I get to do it. Then I would use his temptation.
Yep, that puts you in range for the 1d6. Yep.
Still
Plus
saying
4.
low to the bottom.
6.
Then I gotta think about the bonus action. I don't really have one.
Another charge of a potion, technically. If you wanted to tap yourself up a little bit more, you could.
Yeah, let's do that. 2d4.
Yeah, 2d4 plus 2 for a common. 44 plus 4 if you're using a greater charge. But, let's see. Otherwise, that'll end your turn.
That's 6.
Correct, yeah, it'll be 6.
So that's common.
Yep, so 6 and then mark 1 off charge of common. And then with that, it is top of the turn order. We will have to take our break here. And then we'll come back and continue.